Boundaryless Organizations by Megan Allred, Reese Brown, Samuel Despain, Sky Shore, and Tyler Williams. There are many limitations of your typical boundary organization. Vertical limitations are those between ranks and levels of people, like your boss and his employees. Horizontal limitations are those between functions and disciplines, what people know, and what they can do. External limitations are those between a company and its suppliers, customers, and regulators. Geographical limitations are those between nations, cultures, and markets. The boundary mindset is that knowledge, skills, and abilities are found in the top of the organizational pyramid, whereas lower levels have narrow technical skills mostly used to produce services or products. The boundaryless organization seeks to break through these limitations. In the software engineering world, technology moves at a fast pace. There are constant new innovations. And so how do you survive in a world that is constantly changing? In boundaryless organizations, boundaries are not used to separate people, tasks, processes, and places. Rather, the focus is on how to move ideas, information, talent, and decisions where they are most necessary. For instance, one team member may be really great at getting the right requirements for a customer, and another may be really good at design. In boundaryless organization, the work goes to those with a corresponding skill set. There are a few rules a company can follow to obtain a boundaryless organization. Department identity rules include decentralization, cross-functional coordination, and teams which blur functional boundaries. Here, responsibilities are spread across team members. This makes individuals more responsible for their work. Also, competing companies may pool assets together for mutual benefits. For instance, Apple partners with a Taiwanese company called Foxconn. Where Apple designs and markets the products, Foxconn builds and assembles them. There are also job responsibility rules. Here, the movement is towards more general job descriptions, emphasizing important values instead of specific rules.
Boundaryless organizations were originally thought of by Jack Welch, the chairman and CEO of General Electric at the time, with the core concepts being flexibility and adaptability. The main idea is to break down any barriers that come between different parts of the company. Anything from physical distance to authority must go. One of the ways that boundaryless organizations do this is through the use of the latest technology and strategies. Things such as telecommuting, flexible work schedules, or virtual collaboration such as GitHub or Google Documents are all vital parts of boundaryless organizations. Employees are expected to manage themselves, with employee freedom being a key concept. They are to set their own goals and work their own projects. Because of some of these factors, it is important that a boundaryless organization has a strong and emphasized vision in order to help keep their employees on track.
When calculating the cost of a new business idea, it's important to factor in the amount of money that was lost from not identifying and implementing the idea sooner. Additionally, being one of the first businesses to bring a new product to market is an obvious competitive advantage. The boundaryless business management model provides the ability to quickly adapt to rapidly changing market needs, which is increasingly more common in today's fast-paced and elusive trend culture markets. It reduces vertical and horizontal hierarchical overhead, which can slow the identification and implementation of new ideas. The boundaryless model also benefits a company by cultivating an environment where knowledge, experience, and the inherent value of ideas is prioritized over positional authority and hierarchical structure. This methodology incentivizes innovation, collaboration, and respect among employees, which can increase an organization's efficiency, flexibility, and overall profitability.
Sounds great, right? Well, before we jump right in, let's keep these disadvantages in mind. Without boundaries, it can be difficult to communicate and things can get out of control, so it is not a suitable option in authority. Not to mention, it is easy to select too many like-minded people. This might not seem like a bad thing, but if unchecked, it can cause organizational dysfunction, decreasing performance, and causing other adverse impact. For example, tension between differing social groups within the organization. That said, this may not always be detrimental to the organization, as more research is needed in these fields.
As far as effectiveness goes in a boundaryless organization, there's a quote that sums things up, I think, pretty well. It says, once traditional boundaries of hierarchic function and geography disappear, a new set of boundaries becomes important. These new boundaries are more psychological than organizational. And then a few points I wanted to point out that affect effectiveness is that figuring out your capabilities in the company can really help you step up. And then kind of tied along with that for the second point, easygoing people tend to be more comfortable in learning and working in this environment. And so, if you're an easygoing person that is willing to step up, this could be a really beneficial environment for you to work in, but otherwise it might be a little difficult to adjust to the free flow of things. Another point is that managers tend to have a harder time figuring out how to most effectively fill their role. Usually there's more defined definition and structure in their roles, but with this, no boundaries is a kind of a big game changer for managers, especially.
In conclusion, boundaryless organizations steer away from the typical boundary organizations in that they break free from all the limitations that are imposed by those boundaries. Work is passed to those with the most corresponding skill set, and the organization has leadership spread throughout the teams, and values are more important than job description lists. The advantages are they offer great flexibility to those in the company. Technology is easily implemented as it comes to the market. Employees have the freedom to be where they want and work when they want. However, it can be hard to change the mindset of those used to working in the typical organizations with boundaries. And sometimes when a company goes and collects employees with only their values, not enough values are represented, and that can hurt the overall ideas that come into the company. Most importantly, boundaryless organizations help companies survive in a world that is constantly changing. Here are our references.